Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Dark Crystal adventure game by River Horse.
Hey there, it's DM Zoth. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you know when we upload new videos.
Quiet! I saw this on Amazon just 2 weeks ago, and I had to get it.
Yeah, this comes from the masters, Jim Henson, Frank Oz, and Brian Froud.
You can't get better than the imagination that came with this amazing movie that came out in 1982.
It is an amazing movie, and if you haven't seen the TV series, I highly suggest it.
Yeah, the puppetry work, the story, everything is just on another level. So this is an A5 size book, similar to Old School Essentials.
So it's digest size.
Exactly. Now, this is a book, I'm not too hip on the cover because it has this dust jacket. But what's awesome about it is that it's a map.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
So, and on the inside sleeves, the covers, you can see here the authors. You have Janet Forbes, which you might know from World Anvil, and Jack Caesar. He's the rules author. And they also have the Labyrinth adventure game that they're advertising here, but I'm not much of a Labyrinth fan. Yeah, I know that some people are going to get mad at me, but I don't care. The Dark Crystal was the movie for me.
Right on, man.
So this is embossed, has a great just feel to it. This purple.
There's a nice map there on the inside that shows you the world, or at least the known world, of Thra.
It is beautifully laid out and just beautifully illustrated. This book is just on another level. It has 3 ribbon markers that I have marked for specific things that I want to talk about today.
So it talks about the game from page 3 all the way through page 44.
Yeah, and then from page 49 all the way to 248, that's just about 200 pages. What is that, 199? That's all adventures.
Wow, that's really cool.
And then there's a toolkit which shows you different things like herbs, food, and drink, gear. And then there's the bestiary at the back. And then a wonderful art gallery back here from the movies as well as the TV show. Right here on the back portion, you have a little pocket right here that holds this bookmark, which gives you quick reference rules about experience points and how to resolve tests. So you can see, you can put the rules of the game right here.
So it is very simplified and very to the point.
Exactly. There's some really awesome features in this book. So here's the Dark Crystal Castle, and it folds out.
Wow. Centerfolds.
Yeah. Beautiful. This actually flips out both ways.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, and there's a few of these pages throughout. As well, there's some of these transparent pages that go along with the adventure. You can see how this lines up with this across the way.
Wow. Man, this is on another level.
It absolutely is. It is so friggin' cool. Along with just the amazing art from Brian Froud, and actually there's others that are in here. Brian Froud, Iris Compiet, I think, French. Johnny Fraser Allen, and Chris Caesar, who is also the author of the rules.
So that's a character sheet right there, which is what you need to adventure, and you actually play a Gelfling in this game.
And then this is the Game Master sheet, which these adventures are actually designed to be played in order, and they're in perfect one page or 2 page rather one flip spreads here. So here's an adventure, here's an adventure, so on and so forth throughout the entire book.
So it's like 200 pages of adventure, and that's about approximately 100 different scenarios.
Yeah, and again, they're supposed to be, they're designed to be played back to back. Because there's a story involved with it. It's really awesome.
All right, so how do you play?
So you are a Gelfling in this, and you can come from one of 7 clans. The Drechen, the Dausen, the Groten, the Sifa, the Spriton, the Stonewood, and the Vapra. And each one kind of has their own little quirks that play into that character.
And this is you use polyhedrals in these, right?
Yeah, everything except for the 20. I don't see a 20 anywhere. Maybe on some of the tables. I'm going to use Sophie's lucky dice here, just so that we have clear delineation. Don't need that 20. So we're using basically these dice right here. The main one that you're going to use as a Gelfling is this D6. You might want to have another D6 on hand in case you are dealing with being either hindered or inspired. So just like advantage, disadvantage, you would take the higher if you're inspired, or if you're hindered, you take the lower of the two.
That's simple.
Depending on what kind of creature that you are, let's say that you're a Skeksis, you would use a D10 for all your tests instead of that D6.
Okay, so they're a bit tougher.
Yeah. And then there's no hit points in this game. Basically, if you take damage, you take 1 damage, and then you lower your die. If you take damage, say you're a Gelfling, you're fighting a Skeksis or maybe a Gartham or something like that, and it hits you, your character die, your creature die, goes from a D6 down to a D4.
And then what happens if you get hit again?
Well, obviously, there's no more denominations. You basically go into, you find out whether you've been intensely injured or you can die.
Oh, wow. So this could be a really deadly game.
I think this is a very deadly system.
Which goes with the theme of being really dark and dreary. There's a lot of world-ending sort of things going on. The darkness is taking over.
Yeah, so it plays in really well to this game. Let's take a look at this character sheet right here. I've created this little Gelfling just to show how you do and resolve different things. Let's say at the beginning, during your character creation, you choose one of these different, or two of these different things to be skilled at. Agility, animals, fighting, scouting, lore, social, and brawn. So, and they have their symbols here. I did notice a little bit of it's not technically a typo, it's like a picture mistake, but for the social, it has this cup, but it's supposed to be this brawny figure right here, but that's not in the book. Maybe they'll fix that in the future. So at any rate, when you begin with your Gelfling, you choose one of those skills, and then those subset of skills within there or elsewhere. I chose the subset because I like to min-max. So because I'm a Gelfling, I'm rolling a d6. So if I happen to be climbing, I have a skill in agility, but also a specialization in climbing.
So what does that mean?
So because I have the skill of agility, I get a +1, and then if I'm climbing, I get +2. So +1 equals 2. So I roll my d6, and I end up with a 7.
All right, that's pretty simple.
And you can use any of these other ones. You could use, like a lore test here. Let's say it's the Game Master calls for an Ancients lore test. You just don't have any pluses in it, but you can still roll your d6. So I ended up getting a 5 in this case.
Very simple. To the point. Awesome.
So there's an attack and defense that it talks about in the fighting section of the book. And basically, if you're fighting a creature, let's say they have a d10 and you need to defend, you can use your reflexes or you can use block if you have the appropriate thing. So let's say that this creature is attacking you, they get a 6 and you're trying to block, you get a 6 as well. You have defended yourself.
All right, that's simple. So you have to actually beat it.
So yeah.
So if you get under the number, then they do damage to you.
That's right. So let's do this. So they get a 6 again. You are using your reflexes in this case, and you get a 1. That's actually a critical failure. Not good.
Wow.
And then they've damaged you, and so now you're using that d4.
Oh, man. You're gonna die pretty quick.
Let's do one more round real quick. So they get a 9.
There's no way that you can beat it.
Not with what I have. So I rolled a 4. So I can't beat that. But there is a rule that if you roll max on your die, that you can now redo the test with the next denomination. If I get a 6 on this, then I could have rolled a denomination of 8. And then if I got an 8 on there, I could go to 10. It's pretty much impossible to do that, as you can see. And so basically, I would be dead or dealing with another situation here. So if I get injured, like I've gotten massively injured. So I roll a d12 on this table. So I'm going to roll this d12. I get a 4. It says broken ribs. All tests are made hindered until you receive healing. Now, one of the results, a 1, is return to Thra, which basically means you have died. Your spirit is ascended, there's a funeral for you, etc. You turn to page 246, and it kind of goes through coming back as a new character.
Wow, so I think you kind of want to decide other things to do rather than running into battle with this sort of game.
Absolutely. You want to be using your head in this game because you can die quick.
And begin, all the same, big change. Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
So, being one of my favorite settings of all time, the Dark Crystal is just rich with a world and lore, and it is just mind-blowing how awesome that Jim Henson, his ideas around it, and Brian Froud and his artistry just played into the stylization and all the awesomeness that is in this game.
Yeah, it really is an amazing, not only piece of history, but world building in kind of a short period of time.
And I love it. I like the simplicity of the game because it lends itself, and I think that even OSR sort of games lend themselves to more story centricity.
Yeah, it's fine to get crunchy up to a certain point, but if it's all crunch, then it's almost like there's no time for story.
There's those that actually can do it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But it's, I don't know. It's just not for me. I think the more simpler the rule set, the more you can spend your time on the story. At least that's what I think.
Tell us what you think in the comments.
At the back of the book, it has these awesome things like food and drink, different things, giggle lilies and glow moss and honeyhawk, and has a quick little description on what each thing is. So if you need something on the fly, it's there and ready to go for you.
Here's your gear, stuff you can carry with you, all the way from armor and weapons to herbalism kits and even magic items or magic-like items like the Arrow of Return.
Yeah, right here, Arrow of Return. This arrow returns after firing and has a hook in it for collecting light items. And here's some simple gear, and then the whole bestiary here. Awesome art, wonderful creatures throughout that you can interact with. It gives you their die type right here in the corner, their name, and what they're about. No need for 1,000 different numbers.
Meeting different gelflings.
More creatures. My favorite is the podling. I think on their website, they have where you can download character sheets. And there is a podling, though it doesn't seem like in the book that you can start off being a podling. Though when you come back, if you die as a gelfling, where is it at? 240. It says that you can come back as one of these kin. You can even come back as a construct. Or even a Gartham prototype, which would be an interesting take on things. And maybe it just goes with the story, and I haven't read through all of the adventures yet at all. So maybe it goes through the story and why it is that way. I was kind of sad that that it didn't give you the option. Like as soon as I saw it, I'm like, dude, I'm totally playing a podling.
Oh yeah, awesome. They are cool, aren't they?
Totally. And so I wanted to play a podling right off the bat, but I get the idea, like the gelfling are the only ones that can really pose any sort of a threat. They are the abject heroes of the Dark Crystal. So, but it does give you an option after you die, and obviously this game is so friggin' deadly, you will more than likely have the opportunity to play any of these creatures. It is a random roll, but most GMs would probably allow you to pick. So that's a quick look at the Dark Crystal adventure game. If you don't have it, there's a link in the dungeon. Go pick it up.
Yeah, and thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios. We'll see you on the next one.
Later.
This video is brought to you by the generous support of our patrons. Consider becoming a patron. There's a link down in the dungeon. Down there. Also, we have links to other places that Agranak Studios is at.
All right, do this and do that and do this and do that. And watch this video.